Okay, even guys, welcome back to Fleet Footed. So it's been about 2 weeks since I've done an episode, and I figured I may as well do one. Obviously, I'm not sure who's going to be tuning in, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be pre-recorded, and then I'm going to put it on YouTube. So it's great to have a good friend and a fellow Gooner, fellow soldier with me in suffering with Arsenal, Dan Coogs, with us today. Obviously, Dan, you're doing stuff with Touchline, aren't you, right now? It's a long day away from the tapping days. How are you, bro?
Yeah, of course. You can catch me on the Touchy Gooners podcast.
Yeah, I think you're lagging a bit. Yeah. But guys, yeah, thanks for joining. So I've got Dan here with us today. So what we wanted to do was to do like a season review of Arsenal, basically. So what we're going to be covering tonight is we're going to do a season review, a player review, looking at our best match and our worst match, and also looking ahead to transfers that Arsenal need, and not just incomings, but outgoings as well. So first off, I wanted to start with a season review, right? So Black Dan, right? What are you rating our season? Success or failure?
I don't think it needs to be as black and white as that, personally.
Of course, you would say
right.
that.
There's things that obviously went well, things that didn't go well. So if I had to judge it, it's more of a success. It's more of a success than a failure, personally. Life, as we all know, is not extremes. So we don't necessarily have to judge things as extremes all the time as well. There's great areas there, and I think coming into the season, and the question that I'll ask to all Arsenal fans when they're looking back at the season is, have you enjoyed the season more than this one for the past 10, 15, coming on 20 years? I look at this and I say, this is the most goals we've ever scored ever in a Premier League season. We were top of the league for 200 and something, I don't know, however many days this season. We had fantastic results against big teams, won at places where we haven't won in a long time, got results against teams that we haven't got results for against, in a long time. So I can turn around and say, because we didn't make it over the line, that writes off everything that I've experienced this season. So, for me, I think the season, if you are putting me in the side, I'm going to lean into success. But that doesn't mean that I'm not leaving this season with big feelings of disappointment.
I mean, I like what you said there about ultimately you got to look at expectations at the start of the season and not jump into different extremes. Because to be fair, I agree with you. I agree that I don't think you can look at Arsenal's season and then go to the extreme of, like they were a failure. But I also don't think we can go to the extreme of, it was a success, because ultimately at the end of the day, no matter what progress we made this season, like you said, beating teams we haven't beaten away before. What was it? We racked up we got the record for most points when it comes to London derbies in the season. So obviously there were loads of positives. But at the end of the day, you can't look past that massive disappointment of not winning the league, because it was there. Contrary to, yes, okay, cool. Fair enough, our expectations weren't the highest at the start of the season. We were expecting top 4. And Arsenal delivered top 4 and delivered the title race, right? But at the end of the day, if you're in the position Arsenal were in, with 8 games to go, surely you got to look at the season as a disappointment, despite the progress. Surely, because it's weird, but I see.
Yeah, I hear it.
It's like a paradox for me. I see it as like there were some successes in our season, but it's like a mixture of a success and a failure. Basically, I feel like it's both. I refuse to be that fan that says, okay, yes, no one expected us. Yeah, cool, fair enough. No one did. But the fact is that we were there and we led for such a long time And contrary to people's views on, okay, contrary to what people are saying, yes, cool, like no one expected Arsenal to be here, we've overperformed, blah 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 blah. At the end of the, contrary to people's view on Man City, saying, yeah, like this City team, they're so strong. Yeah, they are, and they got a mad mentality, which we're going to get to later. But the fact of the matter is, if Arsenal had beaten, like, if Arsenal had won like 2 of the games they drew between West Ham, Southampton, Liverpool, we're celebrating when like Man City aren't doing a treble. So for me, I see that as a disappointment. So that's why I say I agree with you in that, like, it's not one of the 2 extremes. I think it's actually both. I feel like it ultimately has been a failure, but compared to what we expected at the start of the season, there have been successful things to highlight. It's progress. It's on the upward trend, but it's still disappointment. So that you're on mute.
Sorry, I mean, I agree with that 100%, man, because for me, as I said, life is nuanced, so we have to view everything from a nuanced lens, right? I look at it and I say, this season had massive, massive highs. And one thing that I said last year when we didn't make the top 4 is that, people said the club weren't aiming for top 4 last season. And so we shouldn't judge the club for not making top 4. But my thing is, as the season goes on, you have to change your expectations, with the results that you're seeing. And we went to 19 games on a 50-point pace. That's Premier League record pace. And Man City, the only team to get 100 points from 38 games. And we were performing at that pace. So, when I'm looking at it and you look at the table with, I think it was 9 games to go, and I see 5 points clear. Obviously, have the game in hand on Man City. Man City have the game in hand on us, right? 8 points in real terms. Man City have the game in hand. And I'm looking at this. We still have to go to the Etihad, etc. I look at how he played against Man City in the FA Cup. I look at how he played at the game in the Emirates, and I'm thinking, this would take an almighty collapse for us to not be able to do this. I look at Man City and I say, look, they're probably going to end up on, anywhere from 88 to 92 points. We were on course, I think, for 99 points if we won all of our games at that stage. So I'm saying, look, we can afford to drop points in, 3 games here and still come out on top. So when I look at it from that angle, of course it's disappointing, and especially when you look at the games that we actually flopped in, the Liverpool game, the West Ham game, and Southampton. I don't think that is something that you can just brush aside and say, Man City were too good, Man City were this, that, and the other. Because for me, if we took it to the last day and they beat us to it, I can hold my hands up and say, they're just a better team. We gave it to them with 3 or 4 games to spare. It was like a 15-point swing in the space of like 6 games. That is an almighty collapse that I can't justify and try and defend. Do you get what I mean? So
exactly.
you have to acknowledge that. You have to acknowledge that, and you have to say that, just when it came to the crunch time, they weren't quite able to make it over the line, and that is very disappointing. However, of the season, and say, what, this team showed me a lot. They showed me, that they have some minerals there that we can work with. And then what I'm hanging on to is that going forward, these will learn from it, they'll improve, and they'll be more mentally equipped to deal with the running, as it were.
Fair. Yeah, bro, I've just realized this is not pre-recorded. I'm gonna have to lock this up.
Oh, really? Why? You're doing it live?
Yeah, I've just realized.
I don't think you can. The thing is, I don't think you can without on the free version.
Yeah, I just realized I need to upgrade it. I mean, there's 2 people viewing. Thanks, guys, for viewing, but like, I want this to be up. I got the dilemma. What do you think? Continue or?
I think just continue, to be honest. Although 2 seconds, I'm just going to go downstairs. My internet is much better downstairs.
Yeah. Do you think? This is mad. This is what happens when you're not fully prepared. You're running around, and you're running around looking for your AirPods before you're meant to jump on. Just good lessons anyway. Okay, cool. So that being said, what are you giving us out? What are you giving us out of 10?
I'll give this season 7.5 out of 10. 7.5, probably 8 out of 10. To be honest, I'm going to be.
Yeah, I would say 8.
Honest.
I think 8 because, like, at the end of the day, like what you said is true. It's an almighty collapse, but it's also a madness of a season, an absolute madness of a season in terms of the output. I think like most goals that we've ever scored in the Premier League season or something like that. Like doing it up until Man City went on their run. Like we were the team that set the pace for like longest winning run in the league. So I think there's a lot of good that came from the season. Like you said, it's just shown us this team are capable of doing something. So I'm just curious to see how we're going to evolve ahead of next season. But
yeah,
usually, go on.
I would say, yeah, it's interesting because, you know, like you see on Twitter and Instagram some of these clips from pundits. You know, obviously people watching live, they watch YouTube of, you know, what people are saying, predictions for like early predictions for next season, etc. And for me, I think it's quite funny how loads of people are basically saying that, oh, this was Arsenal's year, they had to do it. This was their one chance, this, that, and the other. And I really just don't see that, you know. I really just don't see that for me. And the thing is that really gets me, that you ask people for, you know, like you see people get asked for specifics. So I was at a work event today, just before recording this, and my friend, big United fan, you know, a really nice guy, he's just like, oh yeah, I think Arsenal next season, you know, it's going to be too hard for them, this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh, but why do you think that? You know, like all of a sudden, the players who have been on an upward trajectory, why are they now all of a sudden just going to, you know, falter? Like the thing for me that I think is in Arsenal's favour, you know, alongside, you know, a club like Man City, who I'm sure we'll get onto, right, is Man City been the most stable club of any of the big six sides, traditional big six sides, for the past however many seasons. Since Pep Guardiola has been there, club structure has been attuned to getting absolutely everything that Pep Guardiola wants, right?
Yep.
Look at it, Liverpool in their best years, they had the director of football, I think it was Marcus Edwards or Luke Edwards or something like that, working alongside Klopp. They're bringing the signings in. They're working on a project, phase 1. We're signing Mane, we're signing Salah. Get to the Champions League final, get in the Champions League. Then we sign our Virgil van Dijk. Then we sign Alisson. Now we are, you know, making the next step. And it's now, once some of those guys have left, the recruitment hasn't been in place, this, that, and the other. You've seen Liverpool cycle come to an end. Chelsea, you look at the tumultuous stuff that's happened there since Antonio Conte left the club. Roman Abramovich, what's been happening in the background. Spurs, same thing. Man United, same thing. Ralph Rangnick and all this stuff. And I look at Arsenal and I'm saying, this club has got the same stability. You know, everything now. In those years when we were finishing 8th and 5th, look at what was happening, the changes behind the scenes, this, that, and the other. But now, everything is now in place. The players were signing up to long-term contracts. They all want to be here. They're all bought into the manager's vision. Edu and Arteta are working side by side to develop the project. I look at it and I say, look, Martinelli, real breakout season this year. You know, this guy has always had potential to be a top goal scorer. You know, when Klopp calling him talent of the century, we don't even need to get into Bukayo Saka, the talent and ability that this guy has. Martin Odegaard, this guy's been on the scene since 16 years old, finally realizing that potential. And you can go through the whole team. And I'm just saying, it actually would just be ridiculous for Arsenal to just all of a sudden take a step backwards next year. Everything is pointing in the direction that this club is building and moving forward and developing and learning. And you see that these players, if you compare this season just finished to the one before, look at how they performed away from the season before. You could,
Yeah.
Everton away, United away, Newcastle away, Spurs away. These performances that we gave compared to the season just gone, best away record in the league. These players, they take adversity, they run it, they use it to make themselves stronger. Like we watched the documentary when we got battered at Brentford the opening day, and you see Arteta brings up the tweet, what's his name? Ivan Toney, nice kick about. The players, they use that as motivation. So for me, I'm very confident that this team is ready to go again because they've now experienced that pain of being so close and not being able to get it. And now they're going to work on it to build and get better. So, I think everyone needs to be careful about discrediting and not being ready for Arsenal again, because I don't think this season was a fluke.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. There. Like I got asked, myself and my brother were at the DR Sports Champions League watch along, and I was asked what do I think the top four will be next season. I said, to be honest, I said at least the top two will be the same. It'll be Man City or Arsenal. This is not overconfidence. I just, like everything you said, the team, it's the same thing as last season. And you can actually see the type, like not to the extent that we excelled, but you could see that Arsenal were going to have a good season based on how we were last summer. Amongst all the clubs, we were the ones that were the most settled. And we added genuine quality from a title-winning team to our team. So this is a team that has overachieved this season. Yes, massive disappointment towards the end, but by and large, standout performances from a lot of players. Young as well, they're only going to improve. And plus, the plan is to add more quality to this team. So there is zero evidence, like zero factual, statistical evidence to suggest that this team are going to have a fall-off. It just doesn't make any sense to me. That's what I give Arsenal an 8 out of 10. And I'm looking forward to what they're going to do next season. But the thing is, you mentioned something that I wanted to move on to next. I guess this is where I like to look at things from a spiritual point of view. You think about a team like Man City, right? And I was obviously congrats to them for winning the treble, but I was looking at City this season, and the sort of thing that comes to mind when I think about Man City, honestly, I just think perseverance. When I see, I just did a walk from London to Brighton, right?
Congrats to you for that, man.
That was hard. We're talking 21 to 22 hours of walking. My feet, probably after 5 hours, my feet were dead, right? And my wife's feet were dead as well. But we have a choice. It's like, okay, cool. We need to finish this. So it's going to be painful. So we can either keep resisting that it's going to be painful and just tap out, or accept that it's going to be painful and just do what we need to do anyway. And I think this is where I want to see Arsenal this season. It reminds me of the scripture that, suffering produces perseverance, perseverance produces character, character hope. I feel like Man City, all the stuff, all the negative media they were getting, all the hating, it fueled them. But what I really loved from them is just seeing their mentality. A lot of people are comparing Man City artificial. I actually don't agree with that, financially, because it's how they've used their resources and the type of mindset they have. I believe they have a mindset that's willing to go through whatever they need to go through to get the job done. And I don't think you can buy that. I think you can look at United, look at PSG. You can throw money at a situation, but if you don't have the right mentality, nothing's going to happen. And I think the game that encapsulates it all for me was, City had just beaten Real Madrid. Well, they drew with Real Madrid 1-1, right? Away from home. And there was talk of Arsenal maybe creeping back into the title race because we beat Newcastle the week before. And people were like, okay, City have got Real Madrid away, Everton away. This is a team that's fighting relegation. If there ever was a chance for Arsenal to sneak in, this could be it. And City literally came out of the blocks. Gundogan scores a mad goal within the first few minutes. They batted them 3-0. And you literally see, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of an Arsenal player. You're thinking, wow, this team legit aren't going to stop. And I think this is the mentality that Arsenal missed this season. Because I think even if if even if we bought like a Mudryk or a Caicedo, right? Even if we buy those players, does that Arsenal team with those players in January with our mentality still win the league? I don't think so. I genuinely don't think so.
Yeah, it's a really fair point, because as much money as you spend, it's still players that have to kick the ball on the pitch, and it's still a manager that has to set up the team, etc., and win the 3 points from week to week. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Man City have what you could say that this project has culminated in a treble, but it's no coincidence that it's taken them this long to win the Champions League, right? Because if you look at it, even last season, Man City played Real Madrid, right? And Madrid knocked the stuffing out of them because they had they had players who have won 4 Champions Leagues, and they were able to win 5, right? And you look at the players on the pitch that have been doing that. They have the know-how. There's no rookies there. Like obviously Vinicius Junior is one of the one of their star players, but if you look through the rest of the team, Benzema 30 something, Modric 30 something, Casemiro was there 30 something, Cruz 30 something. You look at the defenders that they have. Do you know what I mean? Courtois in goal, this, that, and the other. And you look at the Man City players like John Stones. When we first started doing tapping, right? You remember people were incredibly critical of John Stones.
Exactly.
Right? He's gone for this £50 million move, this, that, and the other, making mistakes regularly, this, that, and the other. But he was the most composed player on the pitch in that final against Inter Milan, and his performance that he put in that game and the one against Real Madrid, even against Arsenal, the last 10 games of the season, and you look at it and you say, this guy has come on, talking about the mentality, etc. That comes from experience, and the team that played Real Madrid and the team that played in the final, the youngest player for Man City was Haaland, and obviously Haaland is a freak of nature.
Yep.
He scored almost 60 goals this season, but the next youngest player there was 26 years old, Ruben Diaz. I'm saying in that Man City team, you look at those players now, they are ready for the big one. They're ready, they're composed, they've grown, they've been done that, they've been disappointed, they've gone to Lyon in the Champions League and got knocked out. Do you get what I'm saying? They've gone to Spurs in the Champions League and got knocked out. And so now they're saying, no, this year, this is not happening anymore.
Exactly.
You look at the likes of Rodri, the Champions League final they got to before against Chelsea, he was dropped, and this is his time, and he's saying, look, I'm seasoned with both hands, kind of thing. So it goes hand in hand with kind of what I was saying before, that the players, the top players, I think they take adversity and they develop and they use it to grow. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I don't think it's a coincidence. And obviously Pep Guardiola, you have to give massive credit to him, because he's responsible for motivating these guys. He's responsible for ensuring that they're able to go again the year after year, because not all the time does adversity work. Like you look at some of these teams that Alex Ferguson knocked the stuffing out of in the Premier League gone by. It's difficult to be able to go again, and so that's where I think Mikel Arteta has got that man management, and that is a question mark, because you could have not Blackburn, you look at like Newcastle, they went toe to toe with United in the 90s, they weren't able to come back. You look at Liverpool under Benitez, went toe to toe with them, they weren't able to come back. I think Wenger done it, for a 5-6 year period, lost the league, but was able to win it next year and that kind of thing. But there's the guys that have come up against them and they've not been able to bounce back. And so, I think that's where the question marks come from, the mentality. But for me, I completely agree with you on the mentality thing from Man City, and then being able to persevere through tribulations, as it were. If you want to use a biblical word.
Yeah, no, it is like what you said. Like they've been there, they've experienced the heartache. So I think, who was it that was they were doing an interview with one of the players. I can't remember. I Can't remember. I've lost it. Yeah, but anywho, but we see that it's just all mentality. That's why it's so crucial. I'm looking to Mikel. He's come on in leaps and bounds. He's proven Mikel. I'm with him. I back him 100% now. I was still 50-50 on him at the start of last season, but 100% the guy is to be trusted. And now I'm just looking to see him be able to inspire these guys to, like what you said, because this team have shown, despite our failure this season at the end, this team is able to take on adversity and grow through it. So I'm looking forward to what growth is going to come from our latest setback and to see how we're gonna bounce back. But that being said, if you're talking, well, let's do a quick player review. I want to see quick scores out of 10 per player and just a brief reason why, right? So we can go through the whole squad basically, but like we don't need to take too long on those that don't start a lot. So I've got our 2022 to 2023 squad, right? So obviously starting with the keepers, Ramsdale, what are you giving it?
I'll probably give him an 8 out of 10. I think he had a great year. Personally, some fantastic saves. I think he got nominated twice for Save of the Season, Save of the Month. Sorry. I'm not sure if he won Save of the Season. I didn't see Arsenal promote that, so I'm assuming he didn't win. But I think he had a great year. Obviously, shame against the game in the game against Southampton, where I think he sold it in the first sort of seconds, or whatever. But yeah. I'm not going to use that to dismiss his whole season. So I think 8 out of 10 he had a great season for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I would even say 8.5, maybe 9. He was one of Arsenal's best players. He had a really good season. Matt Turner.
Yeah, I think we didn't really see him too much. We didn't really see him too much. I'd probably give him a 6. I don't think he was especially bad when he played, but yeah, we didn't see him too much.
Yeah, I was like 6. It seems about right. I'll skip the reserve keepers because don't really matter. So no offense, guys. Tierney,
he probably gets like a 4. Really, Arteta, he doesn't really seem to be in Arteta's good books in the slightest. And I think when he did play, didn't really, cover himself in too much glory. Probably deserved to play a bit more than what he did because it's the one season where he's actually been fit throughout. We didn't see him, so yeah, I'll probably give him like a 4 or 5. 4.
Yeah, no, I think I'll give him a 5. I mean, like a lot of people, like you know how it is with Arsenal fans. They're loyalty to KT. I love KT. I think he's a good player, but at the end of the day, it's something to be said when the team if the team improves and they're playing a system that is a big contributing factor to their improvement, and you're too outdated for that system, I don't really see it as a problem with the manager. I think the player just needs to adjust and adapt, and I don't think he's shown enough in him that he's willing to do that or be that type. Because we've seen it before in several other teams. We've seen players where the manager comes in, doesn't take a liking to them, but they play their way into his good books and they show that they're willing to work in the system. I think about Conte when he first came to Chelsea and he didn't really like Fabregas. He's like, oh, Fabregas can't play. But Fabregas showed, no, I can play. I can ball out. I've got this great understanding of Diego Costa. We've seen it with several other players. So you look at like a James Milner or a Jordan Henderson, how they've been willing to like adjust and adapt themselves to meet the needs of the team system. I don't really see that as much in KT, so I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. I still want him to stay at Arsenal, but purely because I'll get to that later, but I want to see Arteta help. I want to see Arteta coach the team in a way where we're able to actually be proficient in playing more than one system. Because I feel like that's what I really benefited Man City this season. Like, we all know how much of a good team they are. Pep was the one who started this whole inverted fullback. He revolutionized everything. But what I've seen from Man City is they're not afraid to hit it long. They did it against Bayern. They did it against Arsenal. And they literally pulverized teams with just a long punt up to Haaland. So I'd like to see him stay and prove himself and show that, look, you're a good player. So but I give him a 5 out of 10. Ben White?
Yeah.
Ben White.
I'll probably give him like a 9 out of 10. To be honest, fantastic season. I thought he was the best right back in the league. I know Trippier was getting in all of these teams in the
Definitely.
season. But for me, I think White was absolutely clear of him.
Definitely.
Yeah, superb season from him. Superb.
Definitely. But the dilemma is, do you keep him there right back, or you put him in centre back?
I like the dynamic that we have. You know, I think Saliba Gabriel is the best central defensive partnership that we've had since you know, Per and Koscielny. And White and Gabriel were very good last season, so I'm not saying that lightly. But yeah, I think Saliba and Gabriel, that's the partnership for the future. Obviously, I like the fact that Ben White can come in there, and it's a shame that Tomiyasu got injured when he did, because I think that would have been the obvious move, just to go back to what we were doing last season. So we weren't able to see that when Saliba went down. But yeah, I like Ben White as a right back. I think he still has more developing to do in that position as well. I think towards the end of the season, we're seeing him, score a couple of goals, get more assists and stuff like that. So he was developing for me over the whole season there,
Yeah.
and I think he if we keep him there, he'll continue to develop. So I would keep him there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm definitely 9 out of 10. Easily. It's Mr. Consistent. So good. And very, very good on the ball as well. Like, I knew he was good on the ball, but man, oh man, is this guy good on the ball. And I agree. I'll keep him at right back for now, because he's obviously been the best there. And I quite like the fact that it's fluid anyway. That, like, okay, cool. If Saliba gets in, White can slot into centre back. I quite like that. Gabriel.
I'm giving him a 9 out of 10 as well, to be honest. I thought he was superb. I personally think he was the best centre back in the league this season, over Saliba. I think he was our best defender all season.
I agree. I think him over Saliba. Yeah.
I know people talk about mistakes and stuff, but I felt like Saliba made a few more costly errors than Gabriel, to be honest, over the course of the season. And for me, Gabriel's been one of my favourite players since he joined the club. Since he joined the club, So I thought he had a fantastic season, especially away from home. A lot of those clean sheets that were kept away from home, I think, were 100% down to him. I can think of performances, Leeds away, where we were under the cosh. He was, absolutely superb. Leicester away, Chelsea away, Spurs away. The way that he pocketed Kane in that game as well. So yeah, I think Gabriel, I'm giving him a 9 as well.
Rob Holding.
2 out of 10. Let's leave it there. I'm not commenting on him.
Harsh.
I'm not commenting on him. When I saw him wink after scoring that goal at Man City, I thought it was a cruel joke. The less I say about Rob Holding, the better.
I'll give him a 4. I mean, because the thing is, you can't be mad at a player for performing at his level. I don't blame the player. I blame the club for keeping him. Like, but anyway, Tomiyasu for the games he did play.
Tomiyasu, I'll probably give a 5 or 6 as well. Thought he's reliable. When he came on, I think him earlier in the season when he's coming in, played left back, was good. Coming off the bench, Ben White, very good as well. And then, obviously it's a shame he got injured, and availability is the best ability.
It's true.
And he doesn't seem like he's very available. So that's what caps it for me. And that mistake against Man City at home, I probably sold that match for us as well.
Killed us.
And that basically finished us, to be honest. Even though I know we got it back to 1-1, but I think the mood and the nervousness and stuff like that after that mistake was pretty costly. I'll probably give him a 5. 5.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm with you there. 5. Saliba, I give this guy I give him a 9 as well. First season in the Premier League. Clearly important. Colossus, fast, good on the ball. He's obviously and going to develop a lot more as well. I give him a 9.
Yeah. I can't dispute that, and I think we were still doing tapping when we signed him. That's how long ago it was.
And yeah, we were.
Back.
But he never got his chance.
Yeah, wow. And he didn't play, and this was amazing, right? Because to me, on paper, that partnership, Gabriel and Saliba, was something that should have been, played from right at the start. Obviously, after his first centre-end loan, I think a lot of people were expecting him to come into the side. I think there was a few doubts about his ability because obviously he wasn't being favoured by the manager. Has gone out on a couple loans since, and I think he really shut a lot of doubters up this season. Obviously he got in team of the season in France. They sent it back from Marseille, and I don't think team of the season has been released for the Premier League officially or anything like that. But I'll be surprised if he wasn't in it. I'd be very surprised if he wasn't in it. For me, he had a great season.
Had a great season.
9 out of 10 for me. Yeah, Kivior, I give him a 7. I give him a 7. To be honest, I give him a 7. I think
he's going to become good.
Yeah, he was really reliable when he came in. Did quite well. In a couple of the Europa games, a little bit shaky, but yeah, and I think he did all right.
Yeah, he's Polish, so he's going to be stiff. He's going to be a block later. So, Partey. Thomas Partey. I give him an 8.
I'll give Partey a 7.5
because he's fallen off as well. 7.5.
Yeah, the fall off, we can't ignore that, and that's why he loses some points there because that's during crunch time as well. During crunch time, he was really good for 3/4 of the season, and then I can't explain what happened in the last 10 games, to be honest.
Do you put that down to just like his body just giving out on him, or just maybe is that really his level?
I think it's a bit of both. Like Partey, when he's not 100% fit, you can really tell. You can really tell. I don't think he's less extreme than Jorginho in terms of covering big spaces, but I don't think he covers big spaces very well. And when you have someone like Rob Holding in there, that his first instinct is to drop off rather than push up, I think that really makes a big difference for someone like Partey. So yeah, I think 7.5.
Yeah, I think 7.5 is more accurate. Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, he gets a 9.5. 9.5 for me.
Boy.
That's the star boy, man. That's the star boy. Fantastic season. 14 goals in the league. 15 all comps. 11
assists.
Yeah, 12 assists even. Yeah, that's a fantastic return. 27 goals and assists from the boy at 21. He's still not 22 until September, I believe. So fantastic player that we have there. That's the real star boy, man. Proper quality.
Odegaard?
He gets a 10 out of 10 for me, actually. Maybe a 9.75 for giving the ball away against Southampton and Man City or whatever in the running. But yeah, it was basically a perfect season for me. From him. That's you can't really ask for too much more. Goals in big games, goals away from home, performances in big games, led the team as a captain.
Leadership ability, yeah.
So yeah, I think 15 goals, no penalties. Superb season from him, created bags of chances, pressing from the front. I think I see a stat that says he won the ball in the final third more than anyone in the whole of Europe top 5 leagues, and all of this stuff. So from this position, what more can you really ask for? From your attacking midfielder.
No, I agree. I think the thing that impressed me the most about him was his leadership ability. Because I questioned, why is he the captain? But you see why he is. Like, the guy legit is a leader, and I like the way he leads Arsenal in terms of just getting the team to play football. When he gets on the ball, he gets us going. So I'm definitely giving him. I'd probably give him a 10. I feel like he really, really stepped up this season. Because one of my gripes with him last season, I knew there was a good player there, but I'm like, I don't see you in matches. Like, I'm not feeling your presence on the pitch, but now I do, even when he doesn't score. So I definitely give him. How about Smith Rowe? Injury hit season.
Injury hit season. It's a tough one. Yeah, it's a real tough one to gauge. I'll probably give him a 3. Got to give him a 3
Yeah.
out of 10. We didn't
Does he have
see
a
him.
future at
Didn't
Arsenal?
see him. Yeah, I think he does.
What
But his
position?
preseason, I think in one of the 8 positions. But this season is going to be preseason. Sorry, I should say, is going to be very key for him. You know, it's going to be key. You almost have to write off last season. You had the surgery, this, that, and the other with title race. Can we afford to give him minutes when he's, you know, trying to get back to full fitness? Probably not. He's got under 21 Euros. I think that starts later this month, and he should be playing game. Then he's come back to Arsenal for pre-season. I see he's working with a one-on-one trainer, and I think he needs some.
Yeah,
Can you stay fit? You know, can you stay available? Can you come in and contribute? Can you do what the manager needs? And I hope so, man. We gave him a contract, gave him the number 10 shirt. He needs to. It's now crunch time for him. He needs to come in and perform.
Yeah, I think he will. I'd like to. I mean, because obviously there's rumors that the Xhaka deal is done. So I hope not. But if he does go, I think we do definitely need to sign a midfielder. But if I'm Smith Rowe, I should be targeting that Xhaka role because he's someone who can do something that a lot of Arsenal midfielders, well, centrally can't do, which is run with the ball, carry it from like midfield to attack. So Elneny, I'm just doing this. I think this is redundant, but like I give him like a 3 out of 10. I mean, safe, reliable, does the job. But
He didn't play this season. I don't think on any.
yeah, exactly.
He
Didn't play.
game.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
Right. Xhaka,
Yeah.
9.
I give Xhaka you give it a 9. I'll probably give him an 8, 8.5. 8.5. Great season from him. Great season from him. 9 goals, 7 assists. Unbelievable. Unbelievable season. Unbelievable season.
Do you think Arsenal should sell?
I wouldn't have sold him, to be honest. I really wouldn't have sold him. I personally think it's done. I think they're probably waiting for, you know, the first incoming before they let him go because that's how, you know, sort of crucial he is. But I think he's going to go. And for me, that would have not been on my list of outgoings after this season.
Exactly. I wouldn't have sold him.
Yeah. To see how he can perform. And maybe even if he's not a starter, he's shown that he can come in and he still has quality to play in that team if he were to get a starter. But I think he's probably the personality that if he's not starting, he's not happy. And so wouldn't necessarily want to be a squad player somewhere. We know what his you know, leadership credentials are and stuff like that, captain of his country and all this stuff. So I think he'd want to be playing every week. And without being able to do that, I can see why he'd believe him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. He's probably looking for assurances that he's going to be the midfield linchpin, which the truth is, as Arsenal evolve, he shouldn't be. He should be someone that is coming in to play Europa and like against lesser Premier League teams when we're rotating. And I don't think he's going to want that role. So it makes sense why he'd want to go, but I still think it would be foolish for Arsenal to sell him. Vieira.
He probably gets a 3 out of 10 for me. Wasn't too impressed with him, but I'm not writing him off. Give him a chance with a full preseason under his belt. I think he's very similar to ESR that, you know, if they don't perform this season, they would probably go see the back of them next summer.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. Zinchenko?
8 out of 10 for me. Very good season from him. I think surprised a few people.
Yeah, changed the way we play football. So yeah. Let me see. Jorginho.
I'll probably give him a 6.5. I think he's good in his cameos. Yeah, he's good in his cameos. Yeah,
6.5 sounds about right. I mean, he's by and large done what we bought him for. If you ask me, I can't see what he's done wrong, but yeah. And Ketia, I give him an 8.5.
Yeah, and Ketia 8.5.
Yeah, I mean, deep it. Like he did what he did. What more could we have asked for him in terms of goals?
He had a bit of a blank spell though. He did have a bit of a blank spell. So I'll probably give Eddie like I give Eddie like a 6.5. To be honest, I think he came in, he contributed, he kept us top of the league. You know, scored big goals against United. So yeah, I did think that he would be a bit more clinical than he was.
Yeah,
Personally, I
he
think
missed
he's a
some big
good
chances.
fixture. He missed missed some big chances. So yeah, so tough one. I'll probably give him a 6.5/7. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, no, probably 7 sounds about right. I mean, like, he did tick the boxes. And he surprised a lot of people. But okay, Martinelli, 9.5 for me. Really good season.
Yeah. I can barely fault Martinelli, to be honest. I'll probably give him 9.5. 9.5 is about right. That's my guy. That's our second star boy, again, just 21 years old.
Top scorer.
You know, top scorer for the season, joint with Odegaard, no penalties. You know, I think he overperformed his XG by the most in the club as well. So yeah,
More than
superb
Kane.
season. Superb season at the club. So at Arsenal,
okay.
he's yeah.
Okay. Jesus.
I give Jesus 7.5. I give him a 7.5.
Yeah.
Started really well and obviously transformed the team. I think from a mentality perspective, we saw from pre-season how much he's added. You know, really, really good. And then, but obviously his finishing is something that holds him back a little bit. You know, which is why I'm not giving him a higher rating, because I know he missed 4 months of the season. So, but before that, he was on like a 13-game dry spell. So I think that despite that, he was playing really well, connecting the play. Keeping us pressing from the front, etc. All of this. So he brought a lot of intangibles, a lot of soft factors. But that goal scoring is just what I think we were missing from him.
Really. I mean, I agree. I think that's a good score for him. It's weird, but like, he's basically like Arsenal's version of Firmino.
Literally, word for word, you see a lot of the same arguments that Liverpool fans were giving us back then.
Yeah, he's just got a bit more
same
pressure and speed. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
yeah. And finally, actually no, Reece Nelson, and then Trossard.
I'll probably give Nelson.
I give him an 8.
You give him an 8? Yeah. I was going to say 7. I think I was going to say 7 just because he didn't play enough for me to get an 8. So that's all. But in every single one of his cameos, I think he looked lively, looked good, contributed. Bournemouth goal. Actually, for the Bournemouth goal, he gets an 8 alone, because that feeling I felt like we were winning the league. Then I can't lie to you. That feeling I can't even compare that to anything.
Came back to bite you in the bottom, didn't it?
Yeah.
No, so yeah, I give, because the thing is, he proved to me that like he's actually got a future at Arsenal. My mindset was get rid of him, like just sell him. He's young, English. He's obviously not going to get games, but he's shown this season. Okay, bro, you need to stay in this team. I think you can't ask for more than that from him. He's done a good job.
Yeah.
And lastly, Leandro Trossard.
Trossard, for his contribution, he probably gets an 8.5 for me. I think for him to get a higher score, I probably would like to see him score more goals. I think it was just the 1 goal that he scored, but I think he got 10 assists in that short space of time, which is a pretty ridiculous return from a January sign. So yeah, I don't think we could really ask for too much more from him. So maybe I'm being harsh with my rating.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think Trossard was a good January signing. I personally, actually, I'm not the biggest fan of the player. I'll be honest. I would probably prefer that to be, like a loan or something, because I would have liked maybe a different profile of player as a forward, but I have to recognize his contribution. I have to recognize his technical ability and what he does in the final third. So I think he had a great second half of the season. He contributed a lot after us signing him in January.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like the Trossard signing, but I'm with you in terms of goals, because this is something. It's not like he scored a bucket load at Brighton, but he definitely scored more goals for Brighton than he did. There was more of a killer instinct at Brighton especially at the start of the season when he packed away Liverpool at Anfield. It's like, as good as he's been, I want that Trossard. Like, I want that Trossard that's almost confident to an arrogant level in the box, basically. So I want to see that from him next season. I think maybe it's just moving to a bigger club, like adjusting and dealing with the pressure. But given that that's all the players reviewed, thanks for that. What would you say is your best match and your worst match?
Best match for me, I think United at home. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I think the way that the game started with Rashford scoring that goal could have been a long, long day. And I know that United fans were extra gassed after seeing that goal. But then seeing the way we equalised with Eddie, my guy, equalised, and you'll know Eddie and Katie has been my guy from way back on tapping football days, So to see him get the equaliser, Saka to score that goal, do Rashford's celebration at the Emirates, and then for Eddie to get a last minute winner, like that's honestly superb. That's honestly superb.
Yeah,
that was my best thing.
That's my best. It's between that and the 2-0 away to Spurs, just for the significance. Yeah. But Man United was mine as well. I know obviously there's shouts for Bournemouth and whatnot, but like easily Man United, easy.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, everything.
Yeah, atmosphere was unbelievable. So good. And there's actually nothing better than winning the game in the last minute. There's nothing better than that. Honestly, like I know you can batter a team 5-0, but I will take a last minute winner over 5-0 any day for me, personally. My worst game is probably Southampton. Probably Southampton at home, because I think that's when I resigned myself to the fact that we're not going to win the league, and I think the players did as well, because I was at the game, and if you saw the way the players dropped to the floor after that game, I think they knew that it was over after the match. And that one really hurt, because that is a game you have no right to not get 3 points. It's actually like a disgrace that Southampton took 2 draws from us this season.
Ridiculous.
They're one of the worst Premier League teams in history. In terms of points totals and stuff like that. So I'm very disappointed that we dropped 4 points to them in a season where every point matters when you're going up against Man City. That game was really, really tough to take. Really, really tough to take.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Definitely Southampton. It was such a weird game as well, because when we brought it back to 3-3, you're happy you didn't lose, but I was like, man, this hurts so much, because you just knew. Like, I was trying to conjure up hope and it's not over, but it's like, nah, that was the nail in the coffin. So, and it was dreadful. And what made it worse, it wasn't the City game that got us up. That was the game that knocked the stuffing out of us. So that's why it's the worst. And lastly, man, thanks for joining. Transfers. Who do you want to see gone and who do you want to see coming in?
Gone. Right. So there's a lot of players out on loan, like Lokonga, some of these guys, Pepe and stuff like that. I don't want to see any of these men back at the club. Maitland-Niles and all of these guys. I don't want to see these guys back at the club. But I would actually like to see us sell Jorginho. I would like to see us, El Neni, Jorginho. I probably will sell Tierney as well, because the manager's not using him. I would like to. I would probably sell both Eddie and Balogun, and I know I've said Eddie's my guy. I would sell both of them and bring in another forward of a different profile, either a big physical striker, or a speed merchant who can get behind and be another sort of electric threat outside of Martinelli, because I don't think we necessarily have enough speed in that attack. And in terms of players to come in, I want Rice, I want Caicedo. If you had to name my ideal forward, I'll bring Moussa Diaby. I think his tech can be quite higgy, maybe can be quite Pepe-like at times, but he's got he's got a bit more aggression for me in his play, a bit of directness in his play than Pepe.
We need players
bit
with
more
finesse,
two-footed.
man.
Yeah, I
I'm
like
sick
Lucy
and tired
Diaz.
of
I
these
like
type of
Lucy.
guys, man. Like he looks like a decent player, but like we got too many of these. Yeah. Nah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Nah.
and then I'd also bring a centre back / right back personally.
Yeah, okay. I definitely would bring in Rice and bring in Saicedo. Don't know if we can afford them. Both. I see no reason why not, because if you're going to spend 100 M's on Mudryk in January, and apparently we always wanted Rice, I see no reason why you shouldn't go for both. In my personal opinion, I've heard us linked to this Fresneda guy. Apparently he's meant to be good. I just want to see us bringing a right back. I think if we were wise, personally for me, I would go for like a loan to buy for what's his name, Vlahovic. I would go for him. That guy's a beast. Like, and he's.
I wouldn't be opposed to that. I definitely wouldn't be opposed to that.
I would go for him.
Yeah.
I would go for him, and then put maybe Jesus on the flanks or something. I don't know. That's what I would do.
Like, I'm not too concerned with our attack. I think our wide players, I think they're going to get even better in terms of output next season. I think Saka's going to score more goals. I think Martin Day's going to score more goals. You know, these guys actually started the season quite slowly. You know, and they sort of hotted up around, you know, sort of January, February time when they were scoring, you know, week after week kind of thing. So I think they're going to get more output. We scored 88 goals, as we said at the top of the show, you know, in terms of, you know, most goals we've ever scored. I'm not too worried. I think that midfield is the area that needs work, and defense, you know, just getting the depth in. So if we can get Rice and Caicedo, I think we are set up very, very well for next season. You know, we didn't have ESR for the majority of this season. Hopefully he can come in and contribute as well. So, you know, I'm really hopeful for next season, very hopeful.
Yeah, no, I am as well. I think in terms of sell, definitely just sell Balogun. Like, just let him go, get good money for him, let him go develop elsewhere. Oh, real quick before, just to respond. So, Hungy7 said, Tosin, haven't seen you for a minute. Wait, this is pre-recorded. Yeah, man. Unfortunately, I've been busy the past 2 weeks. And in terms of asking, is this pre-recorded or live? It's actually live. I thought it was pre-recorded, then started it. And then 15 minutes in, realized it's not pre-recorded. But I just thought, let me just do it anyway. So then the next one I'll do it pre-recorded. I just want to test out StreamYard. This is the first time using it. Yeah, I would sell Balogun, because the reason why I say that is obviously you said, Hungy, sell Eddie and keep Balogun. I think the difference between the two is Eddie gives us the goal threat, basically. He gives us the goal threat that I believe is bloody fly, man. Eddie gives us a goal threat that Balogun, same goal threat as Balogun, except Balogun, I don't think he's going to be content sitting on the bench. And I'm just thinking, with a play like that, just get good money for him, coming off a good season, just sell him, let him go, and maybe chuck in like a buyback or a percentage. But I think Eddie looks like a player that is happy to play that bench role. I'd rather that.
I think as well in their development, I know Balogun's had a great season scoring goals, but we did like a little scouting piece for Balogun the last international break. And for me, I don't think he's ready to come in and play significant minutes for Arsenal up top when you're, you know, sort of talking about competing for titles, competing in the Champions League, this, that, and the other. So
I agree.
You know, I think he still has some development to go in his game. I think Eddie's game is more well-rounded at the moment, and you know, there's talk like, is Eddie good to start in games when we're challenging for titles and competing in the Champions League? That's a question mark, right? So I think if you can get a team to pay you £40 million for Balogun now, take it, and maybe add a buyback clause for 60 million or something like that, if you can get a team to agree. But I think both are good players, but I would probably sell both. And if you can bring in someone like Vlahovic or a decent striker, then I'll be doing that personally.
I would love that. I just don't see Mikel doing that. I think Mikel really likes Eddie. I can see Eddie staying. I can't see us. I would love that. but I can't see us in the summer buying Rice, buying Saicedo. If we do get both, and then buying Vlahovic as well, and then buying a right back, and then buying a left back potentially, and sell Nuno, loan him out or sell him. I don't want to see him in the team. He's still not ready, in my opinion.
I agree.
I don't want to see him near that team. But yeah, Black Dan, thanks for joining. I know it's
No worries.
pre-recorded, but it was still good to have a chinwag, at least for the 2 or 3 or 4 that joined in. It was still something. So I guess hopefully I'll be aiming to do more stuff like this during the summer. Now that the football season's over, I can actually just work on other special stuff that maybe fans want to talk about. So yeah, thanks for joining, bro. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Always nice to talk football with you, man. Throwback to the tapping days, man.
Yeah. People need to know about tapping. Anyways, man, take care. Thanks, guys, for listening.
Peace.
Bye.